There's a DC bill to allow commercial driverless ops, and it was introduced by a council member, this guy Charles Allen, back in May. And this updates the DC, or the district's AV Act of 2012, to allow driverless testing and commercial driverless operations. So just to be clear, today Waymo and Zeus can only operate in DC with a safety operator aboard. Does this change things, and what are some of the requirements that are getting proposed here?
I'm going to be very polite, but maybe I won't be polite. I'll just be a matter of fact. Change things is an understatement. This puts a rule of books and says, okay, you have to do all of this in order to get a permit to operate commercially. That's where you can charge fares. You have to drive in the district over 250,000 miles. I'm not naming names, but there's only one company right now that's capable of doing that, not naming names. And you have all these other regulations that go around with it. You have the ability for class action lawsuits that can occur out of this, not at me or you as the riders, but as the autonomous driving system there. There is a lot of language in that bill, a lot of regulatory capture in that bill that benefits a particular company and a particular set of individuals that do something for a living, which we won't get into because I don't want to get one of those fancy letters, but there's a lot of hubris, and it is a big, hot, stinking mess. And I know DC's a swamp, and so it does smell swampy.
So some of the requirements are a $5 million minimum liability insurance, crash data reporting within 8 hours for a commercial fleet. That seems like reasonable enough. You should know what the data is. 72 hours if it's a privately owned AV, so they're already looking to the future. I think there was some banter about $1 million application fee. I don't know if that's true or not. And then there's another tax, 15 cents a mile, which for those that know the economics, the unit economics, that's not a small tax. 15 cents a mile to go to the district, I guess, where they're going to allocate it to public transit and a number of other things. So you're right. It's a pile. There's a lot of piled up things. But I think, let me just zero in on the one that you talked about, this 250,000 miles. You know, this gets back to what I've said before on why Waymo is not adding all of their cars to California to get to what I would call true scale. And they're doing 300, 300, 300. Because as you go to every new market and you're the first guy in, you can effectively establish the rules. So if the rules are, hey, I've got 250,000 miles in that market, that can close out competitors from quickly following you in that market. Am I saying that wrong?
Walt said the quiet part out loud. I got to emphasize this. Establish the rules in that market. You said the quiet part out loud. No wonder you're so darn good at what you do.
So, and I think the flip side of this is exactly why, and some of the feedback we got from Uber after past episodes, when we talked about, kind of what they're doing, because they don't want, effectively Waymo to write all the rules. But this, once again, kind of underscores, and I think brings to the forefront, once again, the current relationship between Uber and Waymo. Uber says this bill would effectively ban hybrid networks, and it's fighting for the opposite. One platform where a rider gets matched to an AV or a human. So you can see Uber's colors really showing in this kind of little local skirmish that's occurring in DC. I think there's a head of policy. I don't know how do you pronounce this person's name. Maybe you do. Where this person Curioso, I think, is claiming that one AV displaces 4 drivers. So obviously fanning those flames of populist concerns in order to try and get some hurdles put in the way of these autonomous companies.
Javi is a nice gentleman. I mean, I've known Javi going back to his Miami days, and Javi is a wonderful operator. But I just gotta sit here and look at this from the outside, because I've never been on the inside of Uber, and saying, okay, Uber went from trying to disrupt the taxi cab industry, which it collectively did, to sitting there and saying, okay, now we're the 10,000 pound gorilla. We don't want to be disrupted. This is how we were disrupted. Let's try and put a playbook to ensure that autonomy doesn't disrupt us. It's coming, if you want to say, full circle, the strategy here.
Yes, it's classic NIMBY, where someone, when they move to an area, then they want to keep everyone else out. And that's a good call out. Clappy hat to you. For a decade, Uber fought to keep drivers cheap and on contract. I mean, let's go back to kind of the AB5, which was a California law that would have made Uber's drivers employees and broken the contractor model. Uber fought that tooth and nail. And then you had Prop 22, which was this ballot fight, which I think they spent a couple $100 million on to keep them as contractors, and they won. And it was upheld in 24. And by the way, I support that, but it's just ironic, kind of how this has flipped now. Now that they're in, they're secured via Prop 22 and whatever exists in these other coastal markets, that they're going to try and use the same type of tactics that were used against them to keep the new entrants out.